The following segments are pre-recorded and sponsored by Longworth Productions.
A legendary coach on Triad Today. Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you from the beautiful Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on, and later on is when the roundtable shows up and we'll get into all sorts of controversies with them. But one thing that's not controversial is when people say, who's the greatest coach ever? We got him with it right here. And he's with two friends of ours, David Daggett, Griff Schuler from Daggett Schuler. They have brought along a special guest, Coach Bill Hayes, Hall of Fame football coach, Winston-Salem State, Wake Forest, A&T. Good to see you, Coach.
Thanks. Great to be here this morning.
Coach, hold on just a second. I'm going to ask David something first. Okay. David, in honor of Black History Month, here you show up with your friend. You went to church with them together, I think, last week. Your friend, Coach Bill Hayes, who is not, it's not about Black history. He is a big part of all history. What does Coach Hayes mean to you personally?
Well, I've known Coach Hayes for about 40 years. We've weaved in and out in different organizations, different venues, different places. And I have always been honored to be in his presence. I'm going to tear up right now. He is a living legend.
He really is.
I don't care the color. Yeah. He is a living legend, and I'm just proud to have him as a friend.
Griff, you competed in college athletics at the highest level. What does it mean to you? What does the coach's career mean to college athletics?
Well, he's a legend and he's a trailblazer. In the early 70s, running back coach for Wake Forest University, one of the first African-American coaches in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Went on from there, won conference titles at Winston-Salem State University, won conference titles at North Carolina A&T.
Right.
Sent a number of athletes on to the NFL and the CFL. Just an amazing legend, amazing trailblazer.
Coach, you and your wife started a foundation. Tell me just a few seconds about the foundation and what's the mission. Who does it help?
Bill and Carolyn Hayes Foundation. Sole purpose is I don't ever want anybody at small schools to have to suffer financially like we did, trying to build a program and trying to participate at a high level. It takes money to do it. We had very little. We found ways to do it in spite of. And so when I retired, I said I was going to do everything I could do to find the resources to help these coaches with scholarships and other things that I fought to get. They're real difficult. But so it's been a joy for me the last 4 years to do the Bill and Carolyn Hayes Foundation.
I know that you made a statement one time about the fact that you had to teach class in the daytime, and then as it got to the afternoon, you did football.
Well, no question about it.
And so in that sense, coaches have always been teachers anyway. You're a teacher.
Coaching is teaching. In fact, coaches probably are the best teachers because we have all kinds of strategies to make our players learn. See, we can't afford mistakes. We got to make 100. If we make an 85, we're gonna lose a game.
Yeah.
So we got to score 100.
What do you think, very quickly? What do you think about the this whole paying high school, college players, portals? My nephew's a coach at Division I, and they're paying for players. What do you think about all that?
It's a little bit past what my whole. I just can't get with it, and that's because I came in at a different time. We never had a full complement of scholarship, much less paying the guys for scholarship.
Yeah.
You know, I got to try to find them. You know what? It was 60 scholarships in Division I when I was coaching, and we never had but 50 and won championships anyway. So we had to find a way to win. You know, we didn't have to find the money to pay people.
Right.
We had to find a way to win, which, in my opinion, is completely different.
Yeah. What do you do if the Rams or A&T is playing Winston-Salem State in a game sometime? Who do you pull for?
I don't. I don't. You know, I have a lot of fun watching, and I'm proud of what we were able to do. You know, when I look at the Detroit Lions and, the general manager of one of my players, my defensive end, the assistant general manager
right.
is one of our players, and The defensive line coach is one of my players. In fact, he just got a job with the New England Patriots as defensive coordinator. So I got guys do all kind of amazing things all over this country.
You have people that admire you from all over the country
telling
too. Up on the screen, I want to do something for the coach and his wife Carolyn. Go to billhayes.org, and that gets you to information about the foundation. It's billhayes.org. And also, if you need to, please visit daggettschulerlaw.com or call the guys at 724-1234. We're out of time. At David, one quick thought.
Well, we saw a small glimpse. This man has changed lives for generations. You've changed mine. Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Thank
Good
you,
job.
Coach. I really
Thanks a lot.
appreciate it.
We'll be right back after this.
You know, it's hard to believe the Safe Sober program has been going strong for over 30 years.
And over 600,000 students have made the pledge to stay safe and sober on prom night. You know, Griff, it's had a huge impact on our community.
Yeah, you're right, David. And now we're making sure the message continues year-round.
So everyone can join us in supporting our students.
Learn more and take the pledge at safesober.com, sponsored by Daggett Schuler.
The world's brightest are Fulbrights, Goldwaters, McNairs, and Spartans. UNCG, find your way here.
Back now on Triad Today, and let's talk about preventing heart disease and staying healthy. And we have an expert in the field who's going to visit with us for a few minutes. He's a first-time visitor to the show. Dr. Jesse Madden's a cardiothoracic surgeon with Novant Health Cardiothoracic Surgeons in Winston-Salem. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me on.
My way of Idaho. And now, where did you study? What college?
I studied medicine in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And did heart surgery training at University of Virginia.
All right, that's great. And we're glad you're down here and serving people. Now, in simple terms, Doc, what is heart failure and how common is it?
Heart failure is common. It's one of the most common conditions requiring hospitalization in the United States. Over 30 million patients have some form of heart failure. Most of those patients have mild, but a significant percentage also have advanced heart failure. Symptoms of heart failure include swelling in the legs and shortness of breath, and it's really related to the heart being not able to pump blood effectively. So the body is starved of nutrients and oxygen.
Okay. Now, is there a one demographic group over another who tends to suffer with heart disease more than others, or is it just across the board?
So it's most common in older patients that are over the age of 65, and also patients have certain medical problems such as diabetes, high blood pressure, or who smoke. But it can happen in anybody. Even very young, healthy patients can be struck with heart failure.
Even somebody who goes out and runs every day?
They can, yeah, unfortunately.
How do I know when I should see a cardiologist? Because look, now of course I'm old. I'm in my 70s, but I mean, sometimes you get aches and pains, or something happens, or a little swelling here or there. It's nothing. But how do I know when to go to a cardiologist?
Yeah, I think you should see a cardiologist when you have persistent shortness of breath, especially if it's worse when you're trying to do activities like exercise, or if your shortness of breath is worse when you lie down at night, or if you have pain in your chest with doing any kind of physical activity. And any of those should prompt a evaluation by a cardiologist. And also if you have if you know that heart disease runs in your family, like some of us have, it's probably worth being checked out.
What are some treatment options that maybe we can explore if we were at your clinic?
Yeah, so the treatment really varies based on the severity of your heart failure. So if you have mild symptoms, we can start with lifestyle changes, controlling your diabetes, blood pressure, giving you medications to control the fluid buildup. But as the heart failure becomes more advanced, we add more treatment. We may add medications to help the heart beat more effectively. We may actually put in a device that's like a complicated pacemaker to help the heart beat in a synchronized fashion. And then for really advanced heart failure, we can even implant a pump that would completely take over the function of your heart.
I think you just answered part of my last question, but I was going to ask about any new services that are available, and I guess that ties into technology, but are there any other services you want to mention?
Yeah, so one of the new services we're bringing to Novant this year is the LVAD, or this pump that takes over the function of your heart for patients with advanced heart failure. That would be an option that patients didn't have before here. And One of the other things that we're bringing to the region is the Advanced Life Support, or ECMO program. This is similar advanced pump therapy, but it's instead of for patients that they live with for a long periods of time, this gives patients who were healthy but now are suddenly ill a time for their heart and lungs to recover.
All right. Now, let me get personal with you since you've never been on the show before. We haven't met until just a few minutes ago. Who or what led you to a career in medicine? Was it a teacher, an aunt, an uncle, a TV show, or what? I mean, what spurred it on?
Yeah, so I was really spurred on by my mom. She was a nurse. She was a NICU nurse, like the nurses that take care of the little babies.
Yeah.
And so I actually, when I graduated from high school, I actually went to undergrad, became a nurse myself, and fell in love with the medical field. And someone encouraged me to become a surgeon and go to medical school. And because of their encouragement, I ended up here.
And all that started with mom as a nurse.
Yes.
What a great career.
Yeah.
What an important career. Doc, I appreciate you telling me. Oh, well, I'm going to put something up on screen before I forget. Novant Health Cardiothoracic Surgeons in Winston-Salem, their number is 768-9535. We have that up on screen along with the general website address, novanthealth.org. Doc, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me on.
We'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you that Triad Today also airs on GTN Spectrum Channel 13 and streams on WFMY Plus, free on Roku and Amazon Fire.
The world's brightest are Fulbrights, Goldwaters, McNairs, and Spartans. Prestigious doesn't have to be expensive. UNCG. Find your way here.
Back now on Triad Today. I've been trying to get this gentleman on the show forever, and he is here now. We're so grateful. We're talking about, of course, the Honorable Danny Rogers, Sheriff of Guilford County. Good to see you, Sheriff.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Let's start with who or what led you to pursue a career in law enforcement. Was it a teacher, an uncle, a dad, a mom? Who led you that way?
I started out as a little boy. My neighbors, I grew up in a community that had High Point police officers. As a detective, a patrol officer, I had another neighbor that worked for the sheriff's office that was a civil deputy. So I kind of watched them and wanted to be like them coming up because I enjoy the uniforms and the cars.
The uniforms and everything. So they're kind of role models then for you on that.
Yes, sir.
Now, what different kinds of jobs have you had in law enforcement over the years before you became sheriff?
So I started out working as a non-sworn detention officer up under Sheriff Prophet, and then I left from there, got hired with High Point Police Department where I worked up under Chief Faircloth as a patrol officer. Then I came back to the sheriff's office where I worked up under Sheriff Birch.
Right.
As a master deputy.
People may not know this. I mean, we've talked about it before when your buddy, Bobby Kimbrough, Sheriff Kimbrough, has been on the show. But let's just remind people, what does a detention officer do? Why is it so important?
It's so important because they keep the people that have been incarcerated or housed in the detention centers safe. Make sure that their medical stuff is given to them, fed, make sure that they're protected from other inmates, making
It's
sure.
a stressful job, though.
It can be, but.
But now, didn't I hear somewhere, now do you have openings for detention officers now or not?
We do.
You do?
We do, yes, yeah.
A lot of openings?
We do. We have about 65 positions available.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing Sheriff? What are you trying to do to recruit men and women to come in and be detention officers? You got some kind of strategy in mind to bring people in?
We do. We continue to go out in the community, job fairs. We continue to market social media, billboards. I talk to people everywhere I go. I've talked with the sheriff's office personnel and let them know they are the marketers for the sheriff's office. What they say actually help bring in or keep people away from the office.
Yeah.
So we do that. We also do ads here and there. But pretty much just try to go back through, check old applicants that have applied and kind of look and see if they qualify.
I'm wondering what interested you in public service, because you're a big believer in public service, and we've talked about a minute ago about your role models growing up and seeing men in uniform and this kind of thing, but who taught you that love of, and dedication to public service?
I believe it comes from my great-grandmother and my grandparents.
Really?
My mom teaching us. First, they taught me how to make sure I loved my younger sister. Because I see to stay in trouble with that.
Yeah.
But then from there, it kind of resonated out throughout the community.
Yeah. So what do you say to somebody who is maybe they're thinking about a career in law enforcement? Maybe they like to come work for the sheriff's department. They've never really considered it seriously. And what would be if they were sitting right here and thinking about it, what would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them, first I would ask them, what are their plans? What would they like to do? They may say something, well, I like to serve people. Then I'll try to bring them into the sheriff's office, tell them to research us, go on the website, search other websites to see what sheriff's deputies do. Give us a great opportunity by them applying, come and bring their experience, their life experience to the sheriff's office. Everybody want to help serve somebody else or make somebody else, help change somebody else's life. Well, until you can change somebody else's life, you have to be willing to share your life.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think you've already partially answered this, but we'll end on this, and that is very quickly, what's gratifying to you about being sheriff? What do you like about it?
I enjoy the job, but I love the people.
Well put. Up on screen, you can go to guilfordcountync.gov for more general information about the Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Danny Rogers, I hope will be on with us several more times this year, and I appreciate you dropping by.
Thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.
North Carolina's economy is growing, bringing new businesses and opportunities. The need for electricity is growing too. At Duke Energy, we're meeting the challenge, providing even more electricity that's cleaner, reliable, and that stays affordable. We're getting out of coal and reinvesting in our communities with a diverse, balanced mix of energy sources and making targeted upgrades to the grid so that North Carolina can thrive in a smarter energy future.
Back now on Triad Today. Always glad we can spend a few minutes with the good folks from Modern Auto, and we are doing that right now with a one-time visitor, first-time visitor. I hope it won't be just one. Special guest that Ashton's brought along with her. We have, of course, Ashton Fowler, Marketing Manager, Modern Automotive Network, and she's brought along Sierra Harrison, Team Captain for the MS Walk. Good to see you, ladies.
Good to see you too here.
Ashton, let me start with you. Now, Modern and your family have been big supporters of the MS Society for a long time. I guess the question is why and in what ways?
Yeah, so my great aunt Bonnie has MS, and I think that was definitely a catalyst for us to get involved with MS Society. And now we've been the title sponsor for the walk for 27 years.
Wow.
So it's definitely a long history and something that's important to us. We participate in the walk with a team every year, combined of family, friends, and our employees that come together. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, big family affair then.
Yeah, it really is.
Sierra, what's the mission of the Multiple Sclerosis Society?
Yes, so the mission is to cure multiple sclerosis and improve the lives of people affected by the disease. I am one of those people that are affected by the disease. I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis in April 2016 at the age of 25.
Okay.
It was a difficult time for me. The year previously, I had just graduated from grad school, on my way to stepping out into the professional world, and that's when I was hit, like I describe it, as a ton of bricks.
Ton of bricks.
Ton of bricks, yes. I couldn't even
What
get
did
it
it
out.
feel, and not to get too personal, what did it feel like? Well, we're going to talk about the walk in just a second.
Yes.
But I know it was scary, but I mean, what sort of triggered it to say, hey, there's something wrong?
You know, I started having symptoms when I was at junior college. So I would have weakness, numbness, and I went to GTCC, Titan,
Right.
wonderful school. I told my mother, I said, Mom, I'm starting to have weakness and numbness on my left side. I don't know where this is coming from. And for years, I felt like the doctors really didn't know what was going on. I didn't have a family history of multiple sclerosis or anything, related to that. And it wasn't until I finished like my last year of grad school, and I really started having some episodes of dizziness, weakness, numbness. But a few months before I was diagnosed, I was starting to fall and just losing my ability to walk. And eventually, when I went into my primary care provider's office, the same one that I've been going to for years, she knew something was wrong because I came in with a limp.
And so that really brings it home to understand why you're so supportive of what the MS folks do. So very quickly, tell us about the walk that's coming up. Where is it? When is it? What's it for?
Yes. So Walk and Mesh Triad is going to be held on April the 12th, 2025 at the Triad Park, the Triad Park.
Kernersville, yeah.
Yes, in Kernersville. And
Not far from here.
Yes.
We could virtually walk there, but then that would ruin the whole part
Yes,
of
at
the
the Carolina Field of Honor, Shelter 7. So check-in is going to be at 8:30. That will give participants an opportunity to get all their materials, for them to meet the sponsors, meet other participants.
Now,
The ceremony is going to start at 9:20, and the walk is going to be followed at 9:30.
Okay, and this is a stupid question real quick. How are the funds used?
Yes. So the funds are used for multiple sclerosis research,
Okay.
advocacy program services within the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Now the goal is for this year is for Walk and Mesh Triad to raise $60,000.
Wow.
Yes,
okay.
$60,000. And so far, Walk and Mesh has raised over $1 billion. It's been just fantastic.
It really is. And up on screen, I want to just remind everybody what Sierra just said. Walk MS at Saturday, April 12th, Triad Park, Shelter 7 in Kernersville. And you can go to nmss.org for general information on that. Also, please visit modernauto.com to check out what's going on with all their dealerships, and the family is so involved in community service. Ashton, I can't thank you and your dad and the family enough for what you do. Thanks for everything.
Thank you so much.
Sierra, thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you to catch my column Longworth at Large and Yes Weekly every week. It's available throughout the Triad, or you can go online, yesweekly.com. Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable, but a quick shout out to the good folks here at Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. Check out the garden in person or on the website. You can have all sorts of events out here. You can even have your own roundtable, but I wouldn't advise it because this one, on my right, Ogie Overman, but always political left. And then, of course, we held over David Daggett from the previous segment with Coach Hayes, and Dr. Don Martin is with us. He's chairman of Forsyth County Commissioners. All right, guys. Earlier this month, a debate arose when Greensboro City Council selected a candidate to fill a vacant seat. The challenger said he was rejected because council discovered he hadn't voted in past city elections. Here's the question. Should voting in past election be required in order to run for local office? Ogie.
Yeah, I don't think it should be a requirement, but I would definitely take it into consideration as a voter. You know, it might negatively reflect.
What do you think, Dave?
I agree 100%. It shouldn't be an in or out requirement. However, it should be something voters should consider when they're voting.
Don?
I agree too, and I think the Greensboro City Council, they were selecting, so it probably was a factor.
Right.
Instead of voters.
The Winston-Salem Forsyth County School Board will continue to reject and terminate new hires who test positive for THC, one of the compounds in marijuana. Some school districts have relaxed that drug rule because of a teacher shortage. Guys, should teachers be hired or retained even if they test positive for marijuana? Ogie.
I think they should get rid of that rule. Times have changed. It's no different from drinking. They don't disqualify you if you drink.
Right. David.
I'm going to defer to Dr. Martin on the first half of the question because he knows more than me. The second half of the question, though, embedded in it is, do you change your standards because it's hard to hire people? And the answer to that is absolutely no. You never sacrifice or compromise your standards. If that's the standard, keep it.
Don.
I think the issue with it is if it's against the law, just like drinking is legal, it's against the law, I think you say no. However, we're on the brink probably of having legalized medical assisted marijuana. That may change.
Could change it. All right, until now, local schools set their own policy on cell phone use. We've talked about that in general before, but now the North Carolina Senate is proposing a law that would restrict cell phone use in classes and be a statewide regulation. Ogie, you okay with that?
Yeah, I've been saying it for years, you know, Jim, and I don't like cell phones in schools at all, period.
David?
I tend to like local decision making. However, this one, teachers, administrators have come under heat from parents. This kind of gives them cover, and oddly, I think I support it.
Don.
Well, at a local level, and I do believe in local control, basically that's the way we're set up. I think that if it's a problem in schools, a school board is capable of handling that. And if it's not a problem, then you don't have to worry about it.
All right, as part of Donald Trump's new push to get rid of DEI, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion programs, West Point, the military academy, has just banned special clubs, including the Society of Black Engineers, the Japanese Forum Club, the Latin Cultural Club, and others. Guys, are you okay with getting rid of clubs that cater to just one racial group? Ogie.
It's a sad day in America, Jim. You can see the underlying reason for all of this is all white is all right.
Don't like it.
Hate it.
Okay.
Hate it.
Wait, so you're for cultural diversity at the college level and all that? Of course.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, David.
I am completely against this. When I was in college, which is way, way, way before DEI issues ever came up, we had specialty clubs. Specialty clubs are good.
Yeah.
They get people together of like minds and help them encourage each other, support each other, and move forward.
All right, Dr. Don Martin.
Well, yeah, and this is a very minor issue in the big picture of what DEI stands for at the federal level, minor issue. And I do think that the right of association for things of interest on a club is okay. There's a whole nother issue going on with, I think, the big DEI picture.
All right. A Florida congresswoman is proposing to have Trump's face carved onto Mount Rushmore. Good idea or bad idea, Ogie?
Boy, there's some bad ideas floating around in this world. That might be the worst. That might be the worst idea ever.
Yeah. David Daggett, what do you think?
I hope Mount Rushmore doesn't just crumble to the ground.
It could if you start carving away at it. It's kind of fragile.
And this isn't a political statement. Mount Rushmore is Mount Rushmore.
Yes. You think it should be left alone?
Absolutely.
Yeah, regardless of who. Because they talked about wanting to put Reagan on there at one point.
No,
and I love Ronald Reagan, but I didn't want him on there. Don.
Well, I think any such endeavor like that needs to be reviewed much later, after you've had the juries out and you've had a sense of history. What is the impact of what this individual contributed? And I think that goes for any kind of statue or carving or you name it.
All right. Well, we're going to shift gears here for the final question. This is a true story. A Turkish woman just set the world's record for crushing 5 watermelons with her thighs in under 1 minute. Guys, if you were single, would you be attracted to a woman who can crush a watermelon with her thighs, Ogie?
There's almost something to be said for that in a way, but it would scare me to be with him. It would scare me.
David, you're a wrestler. You're a wrestler.
Yeah, I was a wrestler. I mean, you've got to respect the strength that she has. She might be good at other things that require strength.
I can understand
and that could be important.
Don Martin, would you be attracted to her?
Well, it depends. I don't know. I see her, talk to her. There's a lot of things. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
This is a diplomatic corps right here. We're going to send them to Washington. Well, that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. NASA is now studying, this is a true story, NASA is now studying stars with 9 rings. Hey, I just got one more to go, said Pamela Anderson. She's been married 8 times, and she's...
That's really...
kind of obscure, isn't it? I don't know what. All right. We'll see you next week. I'm Jim Walmer.